new questions and ideas. Buddhism. In Nepal, in the kingdom of Kapilavastu, was a town called Lumbini. Prince Siddharth was from this kingdom. Prince Siddharth was not interested in the comforts of the palace. He left the palace and went out in search of knowledge. His search brought him all the way to Bihar. In Bihar, he sat under a peepal tree in Bodh Gaya to meditate. As he was meditating, he realized that he had got the knowledge. After that, he was known as the Buddha or the Wise One. He started preaching to the people. All his life, he traveled and tried to teach people what he had understood about life. He did this till he passed away in Kusinara at Madhya Pradesh. Buddha's teaching. Dukkha. Life is full of suffering and unhappiness. People suffer when they don't get what they want or they get what they don't want. Tanha. Desire or craving. Wanting something is the reason for suffering. People want many things and that is why they suffer. Dukkha Nirodha. End of suffering. Want causes suffering. So, by stopping our wants, we can end our suffering. We should let go of attachments. Then, we will not have worries, anxieties, troubles, and other problems. Pratipad. How to end suffering. One can end suffering by being kind, respectful, and good. Buddha believed that our actions or karma would affect us in this life and the next. The story of Buddha. Buddha preached in Prakrit, which was the language of the common people at the time. He told people to think and not blindly accept things. This itself was very new to the people. Think and discuss. The Vedas were written in Sanskrit much before Buddhism started. What do you think the language of the people was at that time? When the Vedas were written, the language of the people was Sanskrit. Over time, all languages change. So, Sanskrit changed too. When the Buddha started preaching, the common people were speaking Prakrit. Today, so many years have passed. The common people don't speak Prakrit anymore. In that area, the language of the people is now Hindi. Think and discuss. Why do you think Buddha told the people that all their actions would affect them, if not in this life, then the next? Buddha must have wanted the people to be kind and nice to each other. With the fear that all bad actions would eventually trouble them, people would stop being bad. Otherwise, the strong would just bully the weak all the time. Think and discuss. According to Buddha, why was life full of suffering and unhappiness? What was tanha according to Buddha? Think and discuss. In the story of Kisagotami, what was Buddha trying to teach the sad mother? Everything that lives will die someday. Death can be sad and shocking for us, but we cannot reverse it. We have to accept it. Buddha wanted Kisagotami to understand this so that she would accept her son's death. As Kisagotami asked so many families and found out that in each some loved one had died, she must have understood that there is really no escape from death. The Buddhist Sangha. Buddha felt that only those who left their homes could gain knowledge. Buddha organized these people into a Sangha where they could stay together. The rules for these people were written in the Vinaya Pitaka. Men and women who joined the Sangha led simple lives. For most of the day, they meditated and taught others. They helped each other and also settled quarrels within the Sangha. At fixed times, the members of the Sangha went to cities and villages to beg for food. That is why they were known as bhikkhus and bhikkhunis. In the Prakrit language, bhikkhus and bhikkhunis is equal to beggar. Monasteries. The bhikkhus and bhikkhunis were taught and travelled all the time. In the rainy season, it was difficult to travel, so they stayed in one place. That time, they built temporary shelters to live in. As time passed, the monks and nuns felt that it would be better to have a permanent place to live in. These permanent shelters were caves or viharas made of wood. The land and building usually would be donated by rich people in the area. Think and discuss. How could the poor Buddhist monks build monasteries for themselves? New questions and ideas. Jainism. The story of Mahavir. Prince Vardhaman was from a kingdom in Bihar. He would meditate and think a lot even as a child. At the age of 30, he left home and lived like a monk for 12 years. He meditated and put his body through very difficult tasks. People then started calling him Jin, which means conqueror, and Mahavir, which means courageous. He spent his whole life traveling around India, barefoot and without clothes, even in harsh weather, telling people to be good. Mahavir preached the ideas of the Jain religion. The Jains call him Tirthankar, one who shows the way. Mahavir's teachings. Mahavir's teachings were very simple. Men and women who wanted to get knowledge had to leave their homes. They had to strictly follow ahimsa, which is not hurting or killing any living being, animal or human. Mahavir preached in the language of the people, which was another form of Prakrit called Magadhi. The followers of Mahavir were called Jains. The Jains had to lead simple lives and be absolutely honest. They had to beg for food. They had to give up everything, even their clothes. They could not have families either. Rules for the Jains were very strict and tough to follow. It was hard to become a Jain monk. However, people who could not follow the rules themselves still helped the monks who could follow the rules. Jains today. Jain monks and nuns still walk barefoot. They sweep the ground in front of them as they walk so that they don't accidentally step on insects and kill them. Think and discuss. What similarities do you see in Buddhism and Jainism? Both Buddha and Mahavir believed that all life was to be valued and in non-violence. They believed that all should lead simple lives. There does not seem to be any caste system within Jainism or Buddhism, so probably all were equal. Both talked to the people in Prakrit, which was the language spoken at that time. Why was it hard to be a follower of Mahavir? To be a follower of Mahavir, you had to leave your home and give up everything, including your family and even your clothes. That was hard for most people. The followers were strictly not allowed to kill any animals, not even pests. So it was hard for farmers. The followers had to be honest and not steal. They had to go from house to house begging for food. All this was quite hard. New questions and ideas. Upanishads. Upanishads. Even before Buddha and Vardhaman Mahavir were preaching, there were many thinkers who were wondering about life. They had many questions which they were trying to answer. What kind of questions did they have? What happens after death? What kind of sacrifices should people perform? Is there something permanent that lasts even when we are gone? Discussions about these questions and many more ideas were recorded as Upanishads. The word Upanishad means approaching and sitting near. This is knowledge gained through discussions by sitting near the teacher. Many of the thinkers were Brahmins and Rajas. They are all mostly men. There are very few women thinkers or poor people mentioned. One of the famous Upanishad thinkers was Shukracharya. Upanishads are books that have the main ideas of Hinduism. Upanishads are considered to be a part of the Vedas. They talk about Brahman and Atma, which are the core concepts of Hindus. Think and discuss. What are the Upanishads? What was Atma and the Brahman? New questions and ideas. Ashram system. Ashram system. The Vedic people had a different way of life. They had divided their lifespan into 4 parts. In each part, they focused on different activities. This was called the ashram system. The Vedic people considered that people lived for 100 years. This 100-year lifespan was divided into 4 ashrams. The 4 parts were based on the age, so each part was 25 years long. Brahmacharya, age 0 to 24 years. Purpose, studying. The child lived with the guru to gain knowledge. Grihastashrama, age 25 to 49 years. Purpose, family life. The man got married, had a family and looked after them. He also worked for society and his religion. Vanaprasthashrama, age 50 to 74 years. Purpose, retire, advice. The man retired. He handed over responsibilities to others and helped to share the wisdom he had gained. Sannyasashram, age 75 till the end. Purpose, spiritual freedom. The man would give up everything and live like a sannyasi. He would spend most of his time in meditation. Ashram system. All this is about the men. What about the women? The women were not allowed to go to school, so they didn't have the first ashram at all. After that, they just followed the ashram that their husbands were in. Think and discuss. What was the ashram system? What was the purpose of each ashram?